Guru. Kill the guru.
If you think of there being four concepts or four areas of fitness, so this is as sort of Ian King's described it in the past, and I think it's simplistic and it's easy, right? Flexibility, strength, speed, endurance. We can pretty much say that on a whole, the industry now, the trend in the industry now is to train strength, more strength, then a bit more strength.
That's right.
And then maybe some speed work, right?
Right.
And endurance has become completely, you're a douchebag if you do any kind of cardio at all.
I know, it's so interesting. I remember, sorry to interrupt, I just remember seeing you years ago talk about this. And I was still slightly infected with the anti-cardio fucking virus or whatever you want to call it. And now I look back and I'm like, what the hell was that about? What's that about? This intense anti-cardio like feeling in the industry. Crazy. Sorry to interrupt you. Go on.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a blend, right? You're telling me that the top level rugby players and athletes don't do any CV work?
Yeah. Well,
You
I used to
years they have.
I was talking to a friend of mine, Gav, who we're going to have on the show, who I think you get on with very similar kind of minds. And I was just saying how much I used to love running. I just forget even like the health, the obvious kind of physiological benefit. I used to enjoy it. I used to love it. I used to come back and I felt refreshed and I felt great. I was outside getting some fresh air, and I allowed various gurus to convince me that it was bad for me. Yeah,
I mean, I always think that in a training perspective, I split my CV work with people up into two sections, and I called it like conditioning work and recreational work. If a client says to me, "I really love running," I actually congratulate them if they go out at the weekend and they run. Why would I not?
Yeah.
It gets me when trainers are writing all this stuff, and again, it kind of comes down to the fact that they don't have the experience to back up their dogmatic approach, right? Because if they were a little bit more experienced, they'd realize that actually it's a really good thing if your clients. Let's look, running as a weight loss tool can actually really work well.
Yeah.
And depending on how someone's diet is and their volume of exercise and their frequency of exercise, all those things interact. But it was another one of those things that got thrown out very quickly by the gurus, and that message got stuck out in industry. If you do CV, you're an idiot. If you stretch before doing weight training, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
If you do anything that's functional, what's called functional training, you're an idiot. Basically, do what I say you should do, and you'll be grand.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I don't buy your bullshit. Sorry, because I've seen evidence in front of me that disputes that.
Yeah.
All right. So
yeah.
I just think like the stretching one did it for me.
Right.
For years, I avoided doing flexibility work before client sessions because I was so worried about the effects of it. And now I think actually, I train a lot of guys who need that flexibility work more than they need strength. You tell me why a 50-odd-year-old woman needs to be able to pick up, twice her body weight with a barbell when the heaviest thing she lifts is a handbag. You just don't need that with someone. But a lot of them, and if we think about the aging process in general, people often complain about a loss of mobility and flexibility. The stereotypical view of an old person was someone who had poor mobility and poor flexibility. And for me, mobility as a word is a combination of strength and flexibility. You can go on a course and spend an awful lot of time learning protocols for strength, but you learn very little protocols for getting people more flexible. And yet universally, and you'll know this, I'm sure many of your listeners will know this, if you work on your flexibility for 4 weeks, 3 to 4, 4 to 5 times a week, you feel much better for it at the end of it, right? We all do.
Yeah.
Right? And if you strength train on, let's say you do like what's that program, the Smolov program on bench press, right? You're benching all the time. Do that for 4 weeks, you get a bigger bench, but I guarantee that your chest and your shoulders will feel tight and restricted. So again, it's kind of, and I'm conscious I'm kind of rambling into the training stuff, but it's what I do every day with people, and it's what I've seen is that truly individualizing training programs doesn't really happen these days. And the more that you'll glue one guru's approach, the less those training programs, because when the only tool you've got is a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Yeah. Yeah.
So build your toolbox with your learning. Be open to don't just learn what you believe, and don't just believe what you learn. Make sure that you get your experience from a number of different places. And then if you go back and you try it and it doesn't work with someone, don't bin it. Don't, just park it and think, well, I'll try that again with somebody else in future.
Yes.
And then you end up with this wonderful job where, I'll get a client come in and I'll do an hour of Pilates with them. And then the next client will come in and we'll do, like a West Side style bench program with them.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And then the next one will come in and maybe we'll do some, sort of 6, 12, 24 style stuff, or we'll do some Gironda style training with them. And the clients love it because they enjoy variety. I love it because I get that variety. And what it means is that clients know that I've put thought and effort into their training programs. And they feel like, yeah, this is designed for me. This isn't just a list of 10 exercises this guy uses with everybody.
Guru. Kill the guru.